So our keynote today is Ryan with ASSA ABLOY. And Ryan, I don't know what AHC is, maybe you can help, but he's an AHC CM-BIM opening studio consultant with ASSA ABLOY, and so he's going to tell us all about some stuff that maybe some of us know and some of us don't. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. Hope everyone's enjoying their lunch. Just to fill in that blank, an AHC is an architectural hardware consultant. For those of you who aren't familiar with ASSA ABLOY Door Security Solutions, we're the global leader in door opening solutions. So please come back and see Bill, Jeff, Brian, and myself at our booth and see some of the other innovative technologies that I'm not going to have an opportunity to get to just because of limited time. I did want to say ASSA ABLOY has been a part of this conference for a number of years. This is my first time attending, and it's been both enlightening and exciting for me to see a dynamic group and what your goals, successes, and challenges are moving forward with the way that you run your campus and your different roles within that. So I've kind of tweaked what I was going to show based on what I've learned. And I think that you'll see that Opening Studio, our program that we developed over 10 years ago, or created over 10 years ago, and have continued to develop different user accesses and enhancements, can benefit a lot of you in your different roles in various ways. So I think that I'm going to fly through a lot of information here. It's kind of like drinking from the fire hose, and hopefully something catches your attention and can give you some time back in your day is what we're looking at here. So as we continue to develop this program, I think you'll see our relationship become tighter and tighter and more meshed together. So with that being said, Opening Studio, like I mentioned, is in its 10th year of development, constantly being enhanced. It is really designed as a tool to create content, collaborate, and communicate between different stakeholders and consultants, as well as the management aspect of your facilities. So I'm going to start with pre-design, I guess. So the original concept of Opening Studio, or the vision that we have with it, is a program that can be utilized by the AEC and end user communities to work together through the design, construction, and operations of a building, so the full life cycle of a building. One of our more recent enhancements is the virtual design guide that I'm going to show now, and that is really answering the question of how do you communicate your standards for your facilities or institution in a way that can be utilized by your design and construction partners and other related contractors and trades and so on. So I don't know if most facilities now are publicly publishing their standards. Are they on a website? What format are they in? Are they centrally located? Do they include door and hardware and access control standards as well? And I think the point about that is I've been involved in the door and hardware industry for over 20 years now, and from the distribution aspect, I've got the call from the contractor, we need hollow metal frames on site now. The mason won't show up until that happens, but no one has thought about the access control requirements or finalized what those hardware requirements are. So you end up with frames that are incorrectly prepared and doors that are incorrectly prepared, and your beautiful new building has surface conduit on it now. That's the type of thing that we're trying to avoid with the design standard, where we can save time for your architectural partners or your internal groups by starting with a well-defined, established standard that can be utilized without having to recreate the wheel on every project. So that being said, I'm going to show you what the virtual design guide looks like. The benefit of it is web-based. You can use it on any device, laptop, tablet, smartphone, as long as you have an internet connection. You don't have to learn a new software platform to utilize this. On the right-hand side, you'll see that we have standards that have been developed. I can choose any standard, click on it, visualize it from a number of different angles, see what that looks like. get detailed information as to what that door type is, frame type is, what hardware is on that. And I think I want to make clear that we understand that not everything is ASSA ABLOY as far as the products and standards that you use. We do have an open database that allows us to utilize this program no matter what products or mix of products you do have on your campuses. Anything that's in blue is hyperlinked, so I can immediately click, get collateral information, find out exactly what that material is. Right now I have catalog cuts in here, but you could additionally populate template information, parts lists, warranty information, and so on. If I go to my standards themselves, you can see I can also create sheet views that can be shared, whether this again is internally or to external design partners. I call this a sheet spec myself, but based on your standards, what is the elevation, what does that opening look like, what hardware, what doors are required. And we can also do this for the electrical option as well of things. So this can communicate the infrastructure requirements. If you have a small renovation internally, you could share this with your security consultant, your electrician, and make sure that you're communicating that infrastructure requirement. We also have the ability to create elevations or sheet views of doors and frames to save some time for those in internal planning departments or even your external design partners again. Also able to upload any guide specs that may have supplemental information that you want to provide. Typically this is going to be a Word document that the architect is going to utilize within their specification section. So maybe it has details like all our exterior doors are stainless steel pin and barrel hinges that we require on them, or the hardware supplier is going to provide all the electromechanical hardware except for perhaps the power over Ethernet lock sets with integrated card readers in them. We want the access control provider to supply this, the integrator, so that they can test and commission those lock sets as well, and that's in their scope of work. So to make sure that that's clear from the beginning of a project can be very advantageous. And then of course, exporting in a usable format. So whether that's exporting families and elevations to PDF, DWG, or to Revit models themselves. I'm going to jump into Revit and show you what that looks like. So now what we have is a data-rich door that has information on a text base. For those of you who use Revit, we do have the ability to 3D model that hardware, but we do bring most of all of our parameters otherwise in as text-based parameters to keep the families in the model as light as possible. We know that's a constant struggle for you. So that being said, whether it's an internal design or an external partner, the other feature of Opening Studio is a plugin for Revit that allows us to quickly create content. We know that every project has their own specific requirements and details. If I want to quickly create a new door project specific to this, I can simply go in, grab whatever that type of door is that I'd like, that configuration. So I'll make a simple single door at this point in time. Select what the material I want and what that door panel should look like. And we'll make a Dutch door because it's a little out of the ordinary. These are door families designed by door experts. There's a lot of families that you can't find, whether it's double egress swings or any other sort of custom configuration, I'll say, that make it difficult to pull from other places. The problem is that you get a very inconsistent parameters and therefore an inconsistent deliverable. So we also have the option to do a couple things to even create elevation sheets fully annotated or create a door schedule within Revit itself. I'm going to export this family and now I can utilize that within my project as well. As far as workflow goes, once a design has happened so that we know that we have updated information and can see all the requirements. And I have a family preview here. What we do is have the architect or the design team analyze that project and take a snapshot of it and send information to Opening Studio. Now, This is what we use to write specifications in on a daily basis, so we'd be more than happy to help you with that. But as far as verification of your design and your design intent and standards, this can be utilized to quickly review and visualize what those openings now look like, all the hardware associated with them, and even give you a stripped down 3D view and other door views of the model that you can bounce around, see the door, see what hardware is on it, and also see the relevant collateral information. The beauty of this is you can review a project, see it 3D model, without having to open Revit. So those of you who don't know Revit, don't have Revit, but are involved in design aspects, you can utilize the tool as well. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but the power of the review tool to see manufacturer list pricing, to be able to filter by different aspects, where are my card readers, where are my electrified openings, are very, very powerful. I am out of time, so the next part of this is once you've validated your design, possibly communicated through this tool to the architect, to consultants, to security consultants, we can export and select what parameters, what do we need, what deliverable information are we going to need as our deliverable, and send that back to Revit. And I'm going to show you what that looks like now. So we do have a number of features here. I'm going to show you the auto generation of door schedules itself. So once information has been validated, we can recreate a door schedule with all this information that you've reviewed. Or the flexibility of the program being the beauty, we can simply add parameters to the existing schedule that's already been created for the project. Another feature that is new is looking at those electrical elevations that I showed you previously. Now I'm going to flip to the floor plan again here. We have the ability to, again, coordinate and collaborate and make sure that related trades understand what the requirements are for this project. And one of the biggest things I see getting lost in the shuffle is technology in relation to the architectural end of things. Here you can see that every instance based on the hardware that's been specified has been tagged where those items are and can obviously be, moved and replaced wherever they need to if you want to show different locations for card readers, power supplies, things along those lines. What this allows us to do is a couple of other things directly out of Opening Studio when you're talking about deliverables. We have the ability on a project-by-project basis, and that's my son, by the way. I'll give a little shout-out to him. I'd love to say that was me, but... We have the ability to QR code all our doors and frames. So, again, what you saw with our virtual design guide and those detailed information, this would be an actual live QR code that you could scan and bring yourself to. I'm going to go to our second website here, and get valid information on what is that door type, what is that frame type. Again, all the hardware that is applied to those doors with surface vertical rods and parallel arm closers, and are they fire rated, do they have a 90-minute rating to them, and what is the operational narrative associated with them? How are those meant to operate? What's the design intent and function intent of those doors? What do they look like? You can access this prior to going to an opening if it's maintenance-wise, or if you need to send someone for warranty work, or you can scan this with any tablet, QR code, use it for inspections within the field. Maybe it's fire door inspections that you need to filter by, locate those, use your GIS solution to locate those, and then look for, we also are in development of an app that will allow you to do fire door inspections. What are the 13 points that you need to do to assess your fire doors annually? So there's a lot that can be done with the QR codes, and it's only one example that I'm showing you of consistent design standards and consistent parameters that give you a deliverable with usable data. and how do you want to use that data? And the more that I'm at places like this, the more I understand what those needs are. I hear from people, well, it would be great if we could also utilize more security devices, which is something that we're able to model as well independently from door openings. Then it becomes a conversation of, well, we also have to do inspections for our AEDs. We also have to do inspections that include our fire extinguishers and all these other things. So the more that we collaborate and get exposure to what your needs are, the more we can continue development, to make sure that we can make life simple, save time for not just yourselves, but people within facilities maintenance who are out in the field doing work orders. And I think that's what I wanted to tell you in a nutshell, and I know I'm almost out of time here. So I do want to thank you for your time, but also just put up a reminder that tonight we will have the Innovation Showroom at after the tour event, so please make sure that you come by and see us and do a tour of that, and you'll see a lot more additional technologies than what we have on exhibit back here. So I think you'll find that very interesting as well. Oh, perfect. Okay, so if you come to the back, we do have some Wi-Fi solutions, some wireless solutions that I think some of you are familiar with, our integrated card reader lock sets that enable us to eliminate a lot of that electrical infrastructure because they have integral components within them that include signal switches that can be used for request to exit on the inside lever, latch bolt monitoring switches. So we're eliminating all these peripheral devices and different drops to the door opening, and therefore saving money as far as the infrastructure, conduit, and low voltage requirements. We also have a lot of wireless capabilities. This is fantastic. Well, we do have the experts here to tell you, but again, to give you an idea, if you have perhaps an existing building where you're adding access control to it, does it make more sense to use an IP-enabled Wi-Fi lock set, or perhaps one of our Aperio wireless lock sets as well? We do have a number of different devices that are very unique as far as being able to add access control to things like cabinet locks, server cabinet lock sets as well, either wireless or hardwired. We do have wireless readers for things like glass door applications where we can't run wiring to it. So I think you're lucky to have three of the experts in the room, and we'll be taking you on tours through this showroom. Please take the time to definitely go through there. You'll see some very interesting stuff. So if I do have a second, I want to show you guys, I bounced through this so fast. I want to show you a couple things. If you chose to 3D model hardware, you do have that ability. You do have the ability to add hardware items, peripheral devices, access control devices to your model as well. So a lot of capabilities with this program, a lot of different user accesses, and a lot of training videos online that are available as well. So please, if you want to learn more about that in particular, come see myself before I leave today. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the tours. So thank you very much.